All right, what we're going to talk about today is solving systems of linear equations, but this time we're going to focus on elimination. So for the method of elimination, that means we're canceling something out. So first we want to do is arrange the equations with like terms in columns. So you want everything lined up. Then you want to obtain opposites for one of the variables. That's going to get it to cancel out or eliminate. And then you're going to add the equations and eliminate one of the variables. And then once you figured out what one variable is, substitute the found variable into either equation and solve for the other. And then once you're done, write your final solution as an ordered pair. So the type 1 is where you just add the equations together because something will automatically eliminate. So then you're going to plug it back into the original. So let's look here. So when you're looking at this, you're going to take your x's, line them up, your y's, line them up, equal sign lined up, and your constants all lined up. So everything needs to be lined up. Then your goal is you want to look for opposite signs. So if you were to have a plus y and a minus y, that's going to get those to cancel out. So that's the whole goal here, is we want a variable to cancel out. So now we're going to take our x's and we're adding them together. We're combining them together to get 2x. As I said, the y's cancel out because you have a positive y and negative y. Bring your equal sign down, and then you're going to add those together to get 4. Now we've got 2x equals 4. So you're going to solve for x by dividing by 2. And then that simplifies to 1, so your answer is x equals 2. So now that we know x equals 2, wherever I see x in either of the equations, plug it in. I'm going to pick the first equation and substitute in there. So remember, whenever you substitute, make sure you put it in parentheses. So your x is 2, so plug that in there. And then you're just going to write plus y equals 3. And then now we're going to solve for y by subtracting 2, and you're going to get y equals 1. So we have our x, we have our y, and we write it as an ordered pair. So if we look here, now there you go. Okay, so we're going to look at our two equations. Sorry, there it goes. Okay, we're going to look at our two equations. And when we're looking here, I've got a negative x and a positive y. It's not written down, but it is a positive y. So right now I know if I were to combine those two together, you would get 0x, which means it cancels out. So since these are already good to go, all we got to do is just add them together. And then, like I said, this is the same as a plus x. So when you're doing this, your x's are going to cancel out, and you don't have anything left. Now we're going to add those together to get 3y, and then bring your equal sign down, and now add those together, which are your constants, to get 15. So solve for y by dividing each side by 3. This simplifies to y, and then 15 over 3 equals 5. All right, now that I know y is 5, wherever I see y, I can plug in 5 to find the other one. So I'm going to go with this equation, and I'm going to erase this little plus sign here. I'm going to go with this equation because I don't have to deal with that negative up there, but it doesn't matter which one you plug into. So wherever I see y, I'm going to plug in 5 instead. So substituting that in, I've got x equals plus 2 times y, which we said is now 5, equals 7. And go ahead, now we're going to solve for x. 10, we're going to move this to the other side. This cancels to give you 0, and I've got x equals negative 3. All right, I've got my x, I've got my y, write it as an ordered pair. So I want you to go ahead and try this one. Now remember, you need positives and a negative, and that to get it to cancel out. If you do this correctly, you should get 2, 3 is your answer. Now sometimes you have to add the opposite. Now they say add the opposite. I think of just multiplying it by something to get a variable to cancel or eliminate. So if I'm looking here at my original, right now, if I were to add those, I would get 3x. If I were to add those, I'd get 2y. and then equals 9. Well, we didn't have a variable cancel. So what we have to do is we have to multiply either equation or both equations by something to get yours to cancel. Now for me, since these are already ones, I've got a plus. I need to make one of these minus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this by -1. When I multiply this by -1, distribute the -1 to each thing. And then now I'm going to rewrite, so this is my new equation. So I'm going to take this equation, my original, bring it down here. I'm going to stack my new equation. So it's still the same amount, just looks different. I'm going to stack my new one here. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to combine our terms. So when I've got 2x minus x, I get 1x. Well, look here, I have a plus and I have a minus y. So that's going to cancel out. So we have a variable cancel. And then when I combine those, I get 1. So now I have my x. Now you're going to take wherever you see x in either equation. I'm going to pick that one. That's the easier one. And I'm going to use this equation, the original. But wherever I see x, I'm going to substitute in 1. And then you're going to subtract 1. Y equals 3. And that x, y, ordered pair. So remember, you can multiply by whatever as long as you make it equivalent. All right, so again, for this one, when you zoom in, if I were to combine that, I get 8x. If I were to combine that, I get 2y. So since nothing canceled, we have to go back and the goal is to try to get a positive and a minus. So to get the minus here, we have to multiply everything by -1. So now I'm going to go back. I'm going to rewrite this, and I'm going to make this -1 times 3x, -1 times y, and -1 times 17. So I'm going to take this equation, bring it here. I'm going to take my new equation, and I'm going to bring it here, and I'm going to line everything up. So when you're doing this and you start combining these together, now I'm going to get 2x. Those cancels out, which is what we want, and combine those and you get 10. So again, solve for x by dividing by 2, x equals 5. Now I know what x equals. Plug it into either equation. I'm going to pick this bottom equation. It doesn't matter which one you pick, we'll still get the same answers. And so now, wherever I see x, I'm plugging in 5 instead. So 3 times 5 is 15, plus y equals 17. So now we're going to, now we're going to subtract 15. And then that cancels, so I'm left with y equals 2. We got our x, we got our y, now write it as an ordered pair. All right, I want you to try that one. If you do this one correctly, you should get 8, 2. Now I'm going to give you a hint. Right now, nothing cancels, so you're going to have to multiply to get one of the variables to cancel out. All right, so let's look at this last part here. Sometimes you need to multiply by one or both equations by a number. So not just a sign, but a number. So let's look here. Now I already have a -2 here, but we're going to go back and talk about why I picked -2. All right, again, if you were to combine those, you'd get 3x. If you were to combine those, you get 7y. Well, we can't do that because nothing canceled out. So if I were to make this plus and this minus, it wouldn't cancel out. So I need to make this a -2. If I make this a -2, then your x's are going to cancel. So let's go ahead. I think it's moving on me. Okay, there it goes. So now I'm going to make this x a -2, and I'm going to distribute -2 to each term. Don't forget the other side of the equal sign. I'm going to take my original, bring it down here. I'm going to take my new and bring it down here, and I'm going to stack my variables, equal sign, and the constants. So now we have our new equation. So when we combine that, we get 0x, which means your variable canceled out. And then 5y minus 4y gives you 1y. And 34 minus 28 gives you 6. So we had to multiply by -2 in order to get this to cancel. Now that I know y equals 6, wherever I see y, I could plug in 6. I'm going to end up picking this equation just because x is already by itself. So wherever you see y, we're plugging in 6 instead. All right, so 6 times 2 is 12. We're going to solve for x by subtracting 12. And you're going to get x equals 2. All right, I've got my x, I've got my y, I've got my solution. All right, now on this one, we had to actually multiply both equations. So if you look here, I'm going to erase this real quick. If I were to combine these two, I'd get 7x. If I were to combine these, I'd get -y. So we can't do any of that because it doesn't help anything to cancel. So I need to think of a common multiple or a number I can get to your counting pattern so you can get a variable that cancels. Well, I could do this times 5 and this times 2, but the problem is these are both pluses. I want to have a plus and a minus. So right now I've already got a minus here and a plus here, so I'm going to try to cancel y. So in order to do that, a common would be 6. So what I have to multiply this top equation by 2 to get this to be -6. So let's go ahead, distribute. And then now, what do I have to do to get this to equal 6? So what I have to do is I have to multiply this bottom number by 3, or bottom equation, excuse me, by 3 to get this to equal 6. So go ahead, distribute. And then now I'm going to go ahead and I could do it from here. I'm just going to rewrite it so it's neat, a little bit bigger here and easier to write with. All right, so now I've got 14x and 15x, which is 19x. I've got -6y and +6y. So my y's are going to cancel. And then I've got 6 and 51, which gives you 57. So go ahead to solve for x. And I've got y equals 3. Now that I know y equals 3, you could pick either equation and substitute in 3. It doesn't matter which one. In this case, I'm going to go with the first equation. And wherever I see y, I'm putting 3 instead. So go ahead, bring it down. I'm going to add 9 to both sides. That cancels out. I'm left with 2x equals 12. Divide both sides by 2. X equals 6. So I've got my x and my y, write it as an ordered pair, and there you go. So go ahead, try that one. If you do this correct, you will get a decimal. It's 4.5 and 0, so, or -4.5, sorry, and 0. So remember, the goal is you want to get a plus and a minus with the same number. So truthfully, what would you have to multiply your equations by? I would look at the x's. So cancel, or I should say eliminate. That would be easier, but it doesn't matter which one you cancel. We'll still get the same answer no matter what. And then that is doing systems of linear equations by elimination.